ghost of Hangar 10. Annie. Oklahoma, United States. In 1997, I had just graduated from college and was offered a job with an aircraft company working in an old, run-down hangar. I was told that it would not be glamorous and that the office was far from state-of-the-art, but the work was easy and I could use my spare time writing. I'd thought about it and decided that it might not be so bad after all. Who else was going to hire me for that kind of money just out of college? Archaic would have been a compliment to this old World War II hangar that I work in. On one end, there's an aging DC-3 gathering dust, waiting for the local museum to allocate the funds to have it transported to their building. And in the other end of the hangar, we keep the company aircraft for us to work on and for storage. The hangar doors have many of the original panes of glass that were installed when the hangar was first built. And it is not unusual for us to return to work and find one or two of the panes have fallen out and shattered on the hangar floor, when we have even had a wing of one of our planes damaged from the falling glass. The office is an old parts storage area that had been gutted out and was equipped with 3 desks and a computer. In the middle of the west wall is an old rusty garage door that, when you get it open, leads to the hangar. Most I can ever get it to open is about 3 feet. My job is to make sure that the GPS systems in the aircraft are up to date and make sure that the logbooks are kept current. Most of my work is done from the office and I only spend a few hours a day out in the hangar. One day, John, a Native American that we have working with us, came in and asked, "So Annie, have you ran into anything weird around here yet?" "No," I said. "But sometimes after you guys leave at night, I have to go through and close some of the airplane doors, and someone left the bat switch rotating beacon on in the 52 LT the other night." "Not one of my guys," he said with a laugh. He walked out of the office. I heard some of the guys mumbling about a ghost in the hangar, but I have always laughed those things off. It was not unusual for me to be alone in the hangar after dark, and oftentimes I hear noises that sound like one of the guys yelling to someone, but I used to chalk it up to birds that have made their home in the hangar. One night, as I was trying to download an update off the internet, I felt as though someone in the office with me. I heard footsteps walk across the room and I could actually feel the temperature drop, as if someone had opened the door. "Did you forget your house key, John?" I asked as I looked over my shoulder. There was no one there, but I could have sworn I heard footsteps in the office and I felt like someone was watching me. I gave up on the download and decided I would return the next day, even though it was the weekend, and work while it was daylight. The next morning, I was awoken by the loud shilling ring of my telephone. "Hello," I answered in a sleepy voice. "Annie girl, did I wake you?" It was my grandfather's voice on the other end, the background noise of a payphone. "That's okay, I need to get up anyway," I said as I sat up in bed, rubbing the sleep out of my eyes. "What's up?" "Grandma and I just got in town and wanted to know if you wanted to meet us for lunch." I looked over the clock and could not believe it was already noon. "I have to run out the airport and do a download for a GPS, but after that, I can." I spoke into the phone as I slipped on a pair of jeans and searched for a t-shirt to wear. "Why don't you meet me there? I'll be at Hangar 10. My granddad, an old aviation man himself, told me that he knew right where it was. Back in the old DC-3 days, he used to work in that old hangar himself. Well, in the daylight, my office seemed downright homey. I chastised myself for being such a chicken and letting rumors get the best of me. I finished the download and walked out into the parking lot just as my grandparents drove up. "Why don't I show you around?" I suggested to my granddad. let you see if it has changed much since your day. I showed him the side of the hangar we keep our airplanes on, and then we went into the north side where the DC-3 is being stored. I can't believe this old thing is still here, my granddad gasped. My best friend Patty O'Shea used to fly this after World War twice. We both got jobs here when we came back. The museum bought it, and they are waiting to raise funds to have it shipped piece by piece there, I told him. Poor old Patty was killed by that airplane, Granddad said. One morning, they had just gotten back from a long flight, and as Patty was checking the prop for a bird strike, one of the line boys' thugs got away from him and crushed poor Patty up against the plane. He was dead before we could get him help. You know, my grandmother said, you look a lot like poor Maggie May, Patty's wife. Don't you think so, Papa? She sure does. And you should take that as a compliment. Maggie May was one of the most sought-after girls in our hometown. He smiled at my grandma. I mean, she was the second most sought-after girl. She couldn't hold a candle next to your grandma. Grandma blushed and winked at my granddad. The weekend went by too fast, and before I knew it, Monday morning was already here. I spent my day finishing up some paperwork and doing research on some ads we had been sent. Before I knew it, the line guys were coming back in to clock out for the day. I still had a few hours of work left and decided that I would work late so that I could take off early on Friday. I continued to work and soon lost track of time. As I concentrated on the work before me again, I heard the footsteps in the office and the temperature dropped, just like on Friday. My ghost was back. Chill ran up my spine as I felt my hair being gently lifted and swept back as if someone wanted to get a good look at me. My heart was beating so hard and fast, I think I almost passed out from fright. Then, I remember reading somewhere that if you told a spirit to leave alone, they had to. I don't know who you are, I said in a loud, forceful voice, but I want you to leave me alone. You can have the hangar, but stay out of my office. With that, the room warmed up, and I heard the outdoor of my office slam shut. Don't go away mad, I mumbled it to myself. Just go away. I grabbed my bag and headed for the door as I pushed to open the door. Stuck. Tight. My ghost had locked me in with a padlock that we used to secure the office. Very funny, I said very loudly as I walked back into the office and tried to lift the garage door on the west wall. I was able to get it opened about 3 feet and brace it with a chalk, which is a piece of wood we put against airplane tires to keep them from rolling on windy days to safeguard in case the brakes are not set. I threw my bag under the door and crawled my way to freedom. Standing up, I dusted the cobwebs out of my hair and off my jeans, and I could hear my new friend laughing heartily at me. Ha ha, I said to the empty hangar. Then I realized that I had left my car keys and cell phone on my desk, so I had to crawl back under the door and get them, then crawl under again, each time getting dirtier, dustier. By the time I finally left, he was laughing so hard that it seemed that the walls were shaking. Funny thing is, I was kind of laughing myself also. Had long forgotten to be scared. For the next few days, nothing but the occasional noises in the hangar went on. Then one night, I was closing everything up, trying to get out of the hangar, before the storm had been dancing on the horizon moved on. I went out in the hangar and noticed that someone had left one of the panels of the hangar door open after they had brought it into the last airplane. I walked outside to push it closed just as large drops of rain began to fall from the sky and the wind began to pick it up. I slipped into the hangar just as the door slid closed, and I started to bend down and grab my bag when I heard, "Maggie, watch out!" I felt as if I had been tackled and flew backwards, hitting my head on the wing of a plane. The last thing I remember was a cold hand caressing my forehead and what would have been a kiss on my cheek. When I came to, an old security guard was calling for an ambulance. When I looked over to where my bag was, it was covered with shards of glass. It was covered with shards of sharp glass. I suffered a concussion and a few bruises around my ribs that looked like it had been tackled. But I know it could have been a lot worse if my friend I now call Patty would have not been looking out for me. When I got back to work a week later, I opened my office door after everyone left and yelled out into the hangar, "Hey Patty, you're welcome to haunt my office anytime." Every now and then I feel him come in and watch me. It doesn't creep me out the way it once did, and I even feel a little safer now when I have to work late. So this is the opposite of like the previous story. This guy has a ghost friend, or lady has a ghost friend. It's interesting. It's almost like a ghost romance. If I'm gonna be honest. Well, that was a fun section. And wow, time really flew by. I didn't know how long I spent really reading this stories. But I think I'm gonna